And we're taking you now to a story that is for all of you tech nerds out there. But Apple has really brought in a lot of people into the fold that aren't just tech nerds. So this is for all of you. We're talking about the new iPhone 16. Much excitement and what it's going to feature. It features an advanced A18 processor and Apple Intelligence, much talked about. Pre-booking begins on September 13th in India. Prices start at about 17,900. But we're not here just to tell you about the details. We're also going to be telling you about the pros, the cons, everything there is to look at. Apple has just unveiled its iPhone 16 lineup. Amid the excitement, the underlying question is, will these new features be enough to turn the tide? But let's first take you through all the hits of the iPhone 16 series. Number one, the new camera control button. It's a small but significant addition, and it marks and makes it much easier for any user to snap photos on the go. Number two, of course, there's the much talked about Apple Intelligence, AI with a twist. It's seen further improvements. It's leveraging machine learning for better performance and user experience across various apps. And remember, it was called revolutionary by some tech experts a few months ago when Apple first discussed it. The other standout feature this year is the action button. It's now available across all models, and it offers users more customization options right out of the box. The Pro model also comes with a larger display, which will obviously mean a more immersive experience, a refreshed lineup of new colors. All of this is going to be offering visually new things for the buyers. Interestingly, a move is likely aimed at boosting sales in a key market. Pro models are also seeing a price cut in India. This is going to be a strategic decision, and it will make these premium phones hopefully more accessible to consumers across our country.
So those were the hits. But
Right.
What about some of the misses? And I'm sure you've seen enough trolling online, enough memes being made about yet another iPhone, but what's really new in it after all? Well, there is a question mark over how iPhone will actually, or Apple will go ahead to boost its sales globally. But consider this. They still have features like display, which feels outdated compared to, say, competition offering smoother refresher rates as well. Apple also hasn't introduced any major design change this time around, sticking to closely the design that works for them and the existing factor. For those hoping for innovation in form of foldable phones, etc., have to wait. Apple is not yet there, just yet, compared to, say, a lot of competition coming its way from Samsung. And while the rear camera system has been seeing constant upgrades, the front camera remains unchanged as well, which is a bit of a disappointment. But those are some of the hits and misses we sort of pointed out. Rubina Mognia is with us. She's a tech expert joining us today on the program. Rubina, we were discussing this a little while ago on some of the hits and misses. You also noticed a lot of them. But can we just talk for a moment about that button? I don't know whether it's a hit or a miss. People are saying, oh, the button is here, but others are saying, listen, didn't you let go of the button in the first place? So this is like revised fashion. This is history repeating itself. So what's really going on there?
So buttons have always been there on smartphones, and right now what Apple is giving you is additional control. It's like professional control, and not just that, it's not just a button that you can click. There is gesture control here. So you can swipe in and out, you can zoom in, out, you can change modes. So there's a lot more you can do with that button. It's not just like click. It's like there are multi-layers to that button. So it's, I think, a big hit because it adds, it gives you professional access and makes, your smartphone look more like a camera, which I think we all are using our smartphone as cameras now.
Can I ask you, Rubina, just tell us,
Interesting.
In the US, there's a different model that exists around phones. So every year when a new phone comes out, you can actually upgrade it without having to pay much more. In India, that model is very, very different for users. You have to go out, you have to buy an iPhone in and of itself. So I just want to ask you, to our viewers who are watching right now, would you say this is something worth buying, especially if you've splurged on the iPhone 15 recently?
So there is buyback model in India as well. But I say that if you are, say, you have an iPhone 13 or a 12 or an 11, definitely upgrade because there are much more features. It's got faster processor, the cameras are updated, Apple Intelligence is there. So for everything, like if you have iPhone 13 or below is what I say, if you have that model, upgrade right away. If you have 14 or 15, have the budget, upgrade. If you don't have the budget, you can actually stay longer. You can, use that phone for a year or two more because the upgrades always come. The privacy is intact in those phones. And again, the cameras are fantastic technically on all models.
Okay.
Yeah. But Rubina, I have a 11 and I'm now thinking about what you're saying right now and going, really, do I want to spend that much money on a phone? Because, there's just so much more competition out there right now.
Should we just
right?
give
There
Rubina
is
a second to fix her light, I think? We'll just give her a second over there, Rubina.
Light, but yeah, sorry. It's me, yeah.
No worries.
You take your time, we'll figure it out as we both discuss what we're excited about with this model, whether we think we're going to go in for it. It was particularly the conversation around AI, Sonal, that I thought was really interesting. A lot of people, I was going to buy the last iPhone 15, and a lot of people said, you should wait for the AI. The AI is the exciting thing that's coming in iPhone 16. What do you think about this process? Because I know there are lots of cynics on the internet who are just like, this is just Apple's marketing, capitalism to get us to buy every single time a new iPhone comes in.
No, my first thought is, I don't know what camera Rubina was using. It should have night vision. I think that was my first thought. That's how it should be. Yeah. But having said that, do we have her back? I want to ask Rubina about what's really happening. Okay, yes, we have you back, Rubina. Great. Yeah, no worries. We were just joking about the fact that, all cameras now should have night vision. Especially if you're in India, it doesn't mean night vision, it'll mean electricity vision as well. So that's just jokes apart. But let's talk about AI, and when we talk about Apple, it's not AI, it's Apple Intelligence is what they're saying. That's the next big bet. You've tried it out, right? Tell us, is it really worth the hype, and how does it work?
So it's not an extra app. Like, you don't have to have a ChatGPT. ChatGPT will be working in iPhone itself. You won't have you don't need multiple layers or multiple AI apps. In your, say, supposedly you're texting, you're writing an email. Apple in the mail itself, in your keyboard, will give you suggestions like, do you want a professional type of mail? Do you want a funny mail? And it can compose for you. Other than that, Apple Intelligence has features like in photos, you have cleanup, you have memories coming on. Lots more. And Apple Intelligence has call recording. There is in voice memos, whenever you record, say, a voice recording, it will transcribe for you. It will even give you a summary. So all that is inbuilt. You don't need a third-party app. And it works beautifully as far as I've tried right now with the new iOS 18. So it works beautifully.
So take us, Rubina, to the chatter now. And when I say the chatter, I just want to know, experts like you, behind the scenes, what are you all discussing when it comes to the iPhone? What are your points of concern? And what is the consensus in your community about the big wins?
The big wins is getting the camera control, because there is a little bit of design and change and innovation there with the button. There is Apple Intelligence. The fact that there's an action control button, which is there on all models. So you have it on the base model as well, on iPhone 16 and the Pro. Then you have larger displays, which is great for anybody who likes a screen real estate. But yeah, there is less innovation in design. We will have to wait to see a foldable or a flip phone from iPhone. Like Samsung, OnePlus, a lot of brands are already competing on it. Huawei just launched a triple folding phone. So the level and innovation is going elsewhere in design. But yes, we would like to see iPhone to do more such innovation there.
Okay.
And talking about innovation, isn't that the crux of why Apple sales actually fell globally for the first time? And Samsung came on top. This is for the first time in decades in the history that we know that Samsung actually beat Apple. And, you spoke very nicely in one of the things that you wrote about how it's got less to do with what Apple is doing and more to do with how the competition has flourished. Today, if you look at a good camera phone, there is a Google Pixel. There is in a higher grade, there is a Samsung in a luxury category. And then the same brands have also very massy appeal phones, which are much easier on the pocket. So is that where iPhone is really sort of losing out here?
See, iPhone is from the premium market. And as you know, how many people can afford an iPhone, right, in India? Right. Samsung plays on various categories. There are budget phones, there are mid-tier phones, and then there is premium phones. So there is no comparison with the kind of people they are catering to, the masses that they are catering to, whereas Apple is catering to a certain segment, and it has become an aspiring product. So for anybody who wants to have the ultimate phone, they will be like, let's get an iPhone. and they save up for it, and there are EMIs for it. There's a reason people buy it on an EMI. So I just think it goes, one way or the other for Apple and Samsung. It's like a tug of war, but they're both on top for me.
Tell us a little bit, Rubina, lastly, a little bit about the pricing. We are telling our audiences that 79,000 rupee price tag we're looking at. That in itself is their attempt to make themselves a little more accessible in our country. And growth in India, continuing growth in India, we know is on the cards according to Apple. We can see that in even the way in which they've opened stores. I just want to ask you though, again, behind the scenes, because we want to know some of that chatter, what are Apple's big plans in India?
Apple has, as you know, already have opened their flagship stores. They will be opening more. Plus, they are assembling in India. They will be expanding that as well. The base models, which is the iPhone 16, they don't have any price cut. So it was 79,900 right now. So was iPhone 15.
Yeah.
But the iPhone 16 Pro has got like a 15,000 rupees price cut. So it was around 1,39,000 something, which is down 15,000 less for iPhone 16 Pro. And it's all to do with assembling of India. It's all to do with the taxation system here. And I think it will continually, I think the benefits will pass to the consumer. How much is debatable, but it will.
Okay. All right then. Rubina, we'll leave it there for the moment. This was fun, and we'll talk more about phones in the coming days with you as well. Thanks so much for joining us.